I remember listening to some of Ram Dass's talks a couple of years ago, where he was saying that he had the arrogance to think that he could um, the word isn't save, but alleviate someone's pain through letting them know the truth from his perspective. And he discovered that it was only all he could do was just love them as they were. And that was his job, to love them as they were. Is that all that we do, is just love things as they are?
Well, he was a master in that, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But is it something that we can do? Can we willingly love the suffering in others? Or willingly love them while they're suffering?
Mm.
By willpower? Or by intention? I think I would agree with Ram Dass. How could I disagree with Ram Dass anyways? But, loving our loved ones, our friends, and they can maybe not quite see through the illusion of separation is the best medicine in the suffering. But what does it mean actually to love them, or even to love their suffering? Ooh, that's a tough one.
Mm.
Seems we're all discovering it to some degree now. So it's a common theme how we have addressed it also a bit lately. It's getting more and more turbulent or intense, and what is not met with some loving understanding brings up a lot of suffering now in the world, in our loved ones. They have a common theme also with our parents, if they're still around, or mothers is somehow very strong now. That's why I'm asking if it changed, because it seems it got really worse over the last month somehow. It's more difficult even now than it was maybe a few months ago, 6 months ago. When challenges come, there are always these two ways, no? As I sometimes maybe mention, it's like the reaction of the separate self, of the apparent separate self. They always blame the world, blame the situation, blame the person, or at least will try to change the world, change the situation, change the person. It will, when difficulties come, which are coming now, seemingly for everyone, it's kind of where we can see where we are with our non-dual understanding. That's why I'm not so sure we can say that we can do love, so to speak. For me, it's more, is the understanding alive in the moment when I'm meeting the suffering in my loved one? When it's alive, then I can not only love the person, the so-called person, but also even the suffering, because when non-dual understanding is present, and we see through the veils of ignorance, then naturally, without doing to be involved, there is love, because there is no duality. And this is the other way, so to speak, of the mind, when it has learned that when challenges come, instead of trying to manipulate the world, the person, the situation, or myself as a separate self, but I go within, so to speak. I turn within towards the understanding, towards that which is real, the reality of the world, the reality of the things, the reality of the persons. And when I see the reality, meaning that they are not separate people, that all of that is not happening outside of me or happening against me, but it's all within me. Everything is within the one. If we truly see, looking in the mirror, like in the song, looking in the mirror of God, looking and seeing, oh, that's me, and that's me, and that's me, and that's me. It's all me. Then, as you said, your reaction of your compassionate, awakened heart is compassion and love. But it's not, you cannot do that. Anything you would try to do would kind of rather activate the illusion in you to be a separate person. And that's the danger, of course, in all of that which is happening. Can we meet the world, all these challenges, all the people, all our loved ones? Can we meet and see them for what they truly are? Because there is the danger, of course, that when they are suffering, so to speak, that it activates in me maybe traces of separation that feel I have to do something. about it. Not I'm a support, a loving support, but I'm depending on the person, maybe I feel helpless or in other words, the suffering becomes real. Real in the sense that we believe, we could believe when we're faced with the challenges of our loved ones, they could make us believe, and they want us maybe to believe even in that situation. And I'm sure you're just experiencing that a lot. They want us, in a way, the suffering in them, which is always the perspective of a separate me, needs a mirror of a separate me to confirm to me my suffering to be real. It will almost demand from me to confirm, look, it's so bad, and I'm a victim of the situation. I'm a victim of the world. The world needs to change. It cannot go on like that. And so forth. And all of that, the world as something separate, me as something separate, you as something separate, becomes real. And that is a very crucial point for all of us to there. Exactly. There might come this urge out of it, this traces of separation may emerge in me that has the feeling I have to do something. I have to do something about it. Not that we will not be there for our loved ones, of course. But this this feeling that it's absolutely necessary that I, as a person, take action to help the other to make the suffering go away. In a way, that's what Ram Dass probably discovered. This movement has been there, and it's very normal in all of us for that it comes up kind of, and then we maybe realize that I'm still not quite seeing right. Maybe when I have this movement and I want to follow that movement in me, because the reality, and that is sometimes a bit tough to swallow when it all looks not so pretty. The reality is there are so many angles to look at that. But the absolute reality is no one is suffering. The absolute reality is suffering is imagined by imagined separate entities that have no reality in themselves. The person is imagined and the suffering is imagined. One thing that can help to like a crutch is to see, of course, for example, that the suffering is like a necessary stepping stone for those imagined separate persons to see through this imagination, that the suffering is necessary for the vast majority still of us to seek to overcome it in some way or other, which always leads eventually to non-dual reality, to God or to love. So knowing that, like Maharaj always said, I love suffering, it brings people to God. Oh, quite a statement. When your loved one is in despair. So what do we have to see? And that's what I mean. It's not something we can do. It's like our understanding shows. Like, can I see that this is a movie character on the stage of the screen of consciousness that is experiencing a suffering scene, while the reality of my loved one, of this person, is with me sitting in the living room was God, eating popcorn, watching the movie. That's the living experience of non-dual understanding, and then I can love the movie, including the characters in it. The suffering is in the mirror, on the screen. But the screen, the mirror, the movie, it only, the suffering is only in the movie. The ones that are watching it, we, our shared being, God looking in the mirror, is not suffering. It doesn't even know what that is. It's just loving itself, seeing the essence of the movie, which is the love. That's why the image is maybe ugly, it's not pretty, and the apparent person is in despair, and it's screaming or fighting or frustrated. But in the heart of the person, so to speak, is the bright light of consciousness shining, and seeing that essence from the essence is the experience of love, the non-dual experience of, wow, the image looks really not pretty, and you really look like a suffering person, and you really look like you're having a problem. But deep down in your heart and in my heart, in our heart, we know it's not true. Any attempt to to make this, to overcome, by overcoming the suffering of my loved one, almost automatically I lose the perspective of consciousness, of reality. It's like then it's not like the compassionate, loving heart, the love. That is the paradox. It's kind of with it. It's maybe suffering with it, crying with it, but deep down it still knows nothing is happening. In the absolute sense, nothing is happening except of that the scene on the screen in the mirror has changed appearance. And changing appearance means also feeling, thinking. The appearance is not only the image, our mirror that we're looking into. And I feel we'll be doing that in the retreat practically, to actually look into the mirror. How consciousness looks into the mirror, how we all look into the mirror. It's our continuous experience that we are looking in that mirror. When we look at the world, we're maybe not aware that we're looking in the mirror of ourselves. And we're not only looking, we're feeling the mirror. We're in so many subtle ways, then everything that we're experiencing is looking in the mirror. The image is in the mirror. The thoughts about what we're seeing is in the mirror. The feelings, the emotions is in the mirror. And this dude is also in the mirror, and this dudess, Leslie, is also in the mirror. But our shared being is just looking. It's looking in this mirror. And the one that you're seeing that is suffering is also looking in the mirror as your own shared being. We're just all watching the show.